In the sunlit savanna enclosure of the zoo lived the little rhino. His skin was thick and gray, folding gently along his legs, and his horn was small but already curved forward. Around him, the older rhinos moved slowly but powerfully, their heavy steps pressing deep into the earth. Visitors admired them for their size and strength, whispering with awe whenever one lowered its massive head to drink. The little rhino followed behind, his steps less steady, his horn looking too large for his small body. He often felt awkward. The zebras looked elegant in their stripes, the giraffes graceful in their height, and the lions proud in their golden coats. The little rhino saw himself as rough and heavy, too clumsy to be admired. His horn, though small, seemed sharp and frightening. When children pointed at it, he thought they were afraid, and he lowered his head in shame. Each morning, the keepers placed piles of hay and vegetables across the field. The older rhinos pushed forward, eating with confidence. The little rhino stood back, waiting his turn, unsure if he belonged among them. He believed that his strength and horn would only scare others, not bring them joy. But inside, the little rhino carried a heart that was gentle and caring. While the adults ate quickly, he often paused to watch the birds that hopped along the ground, the butterflies that drifted through the tall grass, and the small insects that climbed across his skin. He tolerated them patiently, offering his wide back as a resting place, even when he felt unnoticed himself. One warm afternoon, a family of quail wandered into the enclosure. Tiny chicks scurried after their mother, but one became trapped in a tangle of weeds. The little rhino stepped closer, lowered his head, and used his horn to pull the weeds aside. The chick hurried back to its family, safe again. The little rhino realized that his horn, which he once thought frightening, could be a tool of care. The next day, the sun burned hot across the field. A tortoise moved slowly, struggling to reach the pond before the heat became too much. The little rhino walked beside it, shading the tortoise with his broad body. Step by step, they reached the water together. The tortoise slipped into the pond, refreshed, and the little rhino felt pride in his size. His heavy body had become a shelter. Later in the week, a storm swept across the zoo. Rain poured down, and water rushed through the grass toward the burrows of meerkats near the fence. The little rhino planted his feet firmly and stood in the path of the flow. His horn and body redirected the stream, protecting the small animals until the storm passed. Though he was clumsy, his strength had saved them. As days passed, the zoo prepared for the Festival of Guardians, a celebration of animals known for their protective nature. The elephants would show how they shielded their young, the lions would demonstrate their watchful pride, and the rhinos were expected to display their strength. The little rhino grew nervous. He feared that visitors would only see his horn as dangerous and his size as frightening. But he remembered the quail chick, the tortoise, and the meerkats. He thought of how his horn had freed, his body had sheltered, and his strength had protected. Perhaps he could show the crowd that gentleness and power could live together. When the day of the festival arrived, families gathered along the fences, lanterns swaying in the breeze. Music floated through the air, and the zookeeper spoke proudly about each animal. The older rhinos demonstrated their power, charging short distances and lowering their horns. The crowd clapped with awe, though some children stepped back in fear. Then the little rhino stepped forward. Instead of charging, he walked slowly to a patch of weeds placed by the keepers. With care, he lowered his head and used his horn to clear the plants, revealing a hidden toy the zookeeper had placed there. The children gasped with delight. The zookeeper explained that a rhino's horn can be used not only for strength but also for care. The crowd clapped loudly, smiling at the gentle display. The little rhino then stood tall, his wide body blocking the wind as lanterns flickered. The zookeeper told the families how rhinos protect smaller animals in the wild, their size creating safety. The visitors cheered, no longer afraid of his horn but admiring it as part of his kindness. As the festival ended, lanterns glowed against the night sky. The little rhino rested in the grass, his heart full of warmth. He understood now that his horn was not something to be ashamed of, and his size was not something to hide. From that day forward, visitors often asked to see him, the rhino who had shown that true guardianship comes from gentleness as much as strength.